In this video, we're going to tell one of the most disturbing stories ever recorded. A true case full of suffering, silence, and survival. The story of Elisabeth Fritzl is not just about horror, but also about resilience. This video is an attempt to recount the facts with the respect the victim deserves. For 24 years, a young Austrian woman was missing, but she never left home. She was there, beneath her own family's feet, locked up, violated, isolated. This is the true story of Elisabeth Fritzl, one of the most disturbing and cruel cases in modern history. A basement, a monster, a secret no one dared to imagine. In the quiet town of Amstetten, Austria, one of the most shocking crimes of the 21st century was hidden. On the outside, Joseph Fritzl's house seemed ordinary. A family man, a retired engineer, neighbors who greeted him with respect. But behind that facade was something terrible, something the world would only discover decades later. Elisabeth Fritzl was the daughter of Joseph and Rosemarie, a quiet, reserved young woman. From an early age, there were signs that her father was controlling. Over time, strictness turned into fear. He was authoritarian, violent, and manipulative. Elisabeth tried to escape. She even ran away from home at 16, but was found by the police and returned to her parents. No one imagined what Joseph was planning. In 1984, when Elisabeth was 18, she disappeared. Joseph went to the police station and reported her missing. He claimed his daughter had run away to join a religious cult. And then, silence. The police closed the case. Rosemarie, her mother, accepted the explanation. But while the world believed Elisabeth was free, she was being led into hell. Joseph had built a secret bunker beneath his house. A concrete bunker, locked by reinforced doors, with no windows, no natural light. There, he imprisoned his own daughter, and for 24 years, she would not see the sun. In the beginning, she screamed, pounded on the walls, cried, but no one heard. Joseph visited her every day. He brought food, threatened her, raped her. Soon, Elisabeth became pregnant. Joseph forced the births of the children without medical assistance. When the babies were born, he decided their fate. Some he took upstairs. He left them at the front door with a forged letter, supposedly written by Elisabeth, asking her parents to care for the child. Others stayed with her in the basement. In total, Elisabeth had 7 children with her father. One of them died shortly after birth. Joseph incinerated the body and disposed of it without anyone knowing. The children who remained in the basement grew up without seeing the outside world, without knowing what the sky, rain, or wind were. They lived in a claustrophobic space with makeshift beds, an old TV, and a rudimentary ventilation system. Joseph controlled everything: what they ate, what they watched, how they spoke. Meanwhile, upstairs, Rosemarie cared for the grandchildren, believing they were merely abandoned by her runaway daughter. She claimed she never suspected. The house had locked doors, forbidden areas. But Joseph was persuasive, and no one dared to confront him. The captivity lasted until 2008. One of Elisabeth's daughters, named Kerstin, became severely ill. Joseph realized he couldn't care for her and took the young woman to the hospital, but under a false identity. The situation drew the attention of doctors, who found it strange for a comatose teenager with no medical history or documents to appear. The police were called, and for the first time in over 2 decades, the truth began to emerge. Joseph knew he was being watched. He took Elisabeth to the hospital, claiming she had reappeared to help her daughter. But when questioned separately, Elisabeth told everything, on the condition that she would never have to see her father again. The police raided the basement. They found the damp, stuffy space where she and her children had lived for so long. They found worn mattresses, broken toys, scribbled records on paper, and the smell of horror. The world was shocked. Joseph Fritzl was arrested. In court, he tried to justify his actions. He said he could have killed everyone, but didn't, as if that were a defense. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. Today, he is serving his sentence in a maximum security prison, isolated, aging alone. Elisabeth and her children were taken to a safe place. They received intensive psychological care and new identities. Slowly, they tried to rebuild their lives, but the scars are deep. The children from the basement, now adults, live with difficult-to-explain traumas. Some still have difficulty understanding that the world is larger than four walls. The house was walled up, the basement sealed. No resident of the town wants to remember what happened there. It's a dark chapter that many prefer to forget, but it needs to be remembered so that it never happens again. For 24 years, Elisabeth Fritzl lived in a hidden hell, in plain sight. Her case is a brutal warning that true monsters can live within our own homes. Do you think justice was served? If this story shocked you, imagine how many others are still hidden in the shadows. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. That way you won't miss any dark cases like this one.